Wife!
Do you know what we're doing today?
Well, yesterday we read the Prayer of Azariah, which was one of the apocryphal books of Daniel for some Bibles, for some readings. So, and that being it's not in all Bibles. So we didn't necessarily need to read this as part of our Bible, but we figured since it is in some, we wanted to go ahead and do that. And in that book, or that chapter, that went on forever.
Yeah.
And they praised God a lot. And all the things, the earth, the dew, the snow,
and it
the
took
grass.
place in chapter 3 when dude's homeboys were tossed into the furnace.
Yeah, they were in the fire. So, yeah, they were dancing around, and then they were like, hey, we suck. God, forgive us for sucking. And then they went on to extol all the things and all the things that like the grass even praised God.
Yes.
So, I mean...
And the sun and the moon and the spring.
yeah. It was a lot of... it was very repetitive and very... ugh.
Yeah.
So that was the Prayer of Azariah.
Yes.
Which means that today we're going to be finishing up our book of Daniel. And then moving into our regular scheduled, end of book of Daniel stuff with...
Bel and the Dragon.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, as you stated in the intro, we are reading 3 apocryphal chapters of Daniel.
We are.
Which apocryphal means that they are not included.
Sometimes. Depending on which Bible we're talking about.
Right. They are not included in Jewish or Protestant Bibles, but they are accepted as canon by some Catholic Bibles.
Right.
And even when they're not accepted as canon, sometimes the stories do still appear in an appendix.
Right.
Some Protestant Bibles have an apocryphal appendix.
I see.
That these stories appear in.
Yeah, because they aren't exactly heretical.
Right.
They're just not accepted as the story that they want to tell in the Bible.
Right.
So,
which is weird considering the things that they did decide get to stick around.
Right.
But these were later additions to Daniel.
And they weren't exactly, they didn't fit the mold for what these certain groups wanted to put.
Right.
Like they had to have certain criteria that fit for the stuff that went into their Bible. So,
yes, they did.
Which, whatever, that's...
I don't care.
Yeah.
So these 3 chapters are not found in the Hebrew or Aramaic texts of Daniel, and the text of these chapters is found in the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
The first one we read was Susanna and the Elders, and then the one that we read yesterday was the Prayer of Azariah and Song of the 3 Holy Children. The one we're reading today is Bel and the Dragon.
Okay.
And Bel, it's funny, you were asking me how to spell it, and you thought it was like a girl's name, like Belle.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's more like the god Bel, so think L-B-E-L.
Right.
So it's not like a girl and a dragon, which is like the picture that I had in my mind when I was thinking of Bel and the Dragon.
Right.
Like a maiden in distress, right?
Yeah.
A damsel. But no, it's not.
Okay.
So this one falls after Daniel chapter 12, verse 13 in the Septuagint.
Oh.
And is an epilogue.
Okay. All right.
So Bel and the Dragon is believed to have been written between the 3rd and 1st centuries BCE, likely around the time that Daniel was being translated from Hebrew to Greek.
Got it.
The Greek version dates back to 100 BCE, but the Hebrew version may be even older than that.
Okay.
However, this chapter was unknown to early rabbinic Judaism.
Got it.
So we're, as usual, not quite sure what came from where.
Okay. Right.
While it is considered non-canonical by most Protestants, it is canonical to Catholic and Eastern Orthodox Christians.
Sure.
This is a Greek apocryphal story that parodies Babylonian gods and aims to discredit them.
Interesting.
Right? I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
This version of the story that we're about to read has been cited as an ancestor of the locked room mystery. Remember, I told you that this one and the first one that we read, Susanna, were considered two of the earliest mysteries.
Yeah.
This is the other one.
Okay.
And are you familiar with a locked room mystery?
Not specifically.
You're in a room, you're murdered, but the room is locked. How did it happen?
Oh, okay.
If, the doors were not jimmied and the windows aren't broken.
Got it.
How did the murder occur?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So we are going to go read this now, and then I'll have some more notes after.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bel and the dragon.
Got it.
When King Astyages,
sure, that guy,
right, was laid to rest with his ancestors, Cyrus the Persian succeeded to this kingdom.
Okay.
Daniel was a companion of the king and was the most honored of all his friends. Now, the Babylonians had an idol called Bel, B-E-L.
Right. Yeah.
And every day they provided for it 12 bushels of choice flour and 40 sheep and 6 measures of wine. The king revered it and went every day to worship it. But Daniel worshipped his own God. So the king said to him, "Why do you not worship Bel?" He answered, because I do not revere idols made with hands, but the living God who created heaven and earth and has dominion over all living creatures. Like, duh.
All right.
Your dude is a statue. Stupid.
I mean, they did put a lot of emphasis on the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
And
so I don't want to hear your shit, Daniel.
I'm just saying
response.
There has been some things that were built in their gods,
Y'all did some idling too, Daniel.
Somewhat.
So don't be so uppity.
Yeah.
Okay. The king said to him, do you not think that Bel is a living God? Do you not see how much he eats and drinks every day? Hello? And Daniel laughed and said, "Do not be deceived, O king, for this thing is only clay inside and bronze outside, and it never ate or drank anything."
Much like the sacrifices you give to your living God?
Right.
Daniel?
It's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yes, I agree with you. It is just a statue.
Right.
So what do y'all do with
right.
your
What the fuck is your sacrifices? No one's eating that shit either other than the fucking priests.
Exactly. Then the king was angry and called the priests of Bel and said to them, "If you do not tell me who is eating these provisions, you shall die." But if you prove that Bel is eating them, Daniel shall die, because he has spoken blasphemy against Bel.
Oh, okay.
Daniel said to the king, "Let it be done as you've said. Whatevs, yo."
Okay.
He's like, do what you gotta do. What?
Sure.
Now there were 70 priests of Bel besides their wives and children. So the king went with Daniel into the temple of Bel. The priests of Bel said, "See, we are now going outside. You yourself, O king, set out the food and prepare the wine and shut the door and seal it with your signet. When you return in the morning, if you do not find that Bel has eaten it all, we will die. Otherwise, Daniel, who is telling lies about us." They were unconcerned, for beneath the table they had made a hidden entrance.
Of course they did.
Right, through which they used to go in regularly and consume the provisions.
Sure.
Not just them, but their whole families.
Right, yeah.
After they had gone out, the king set out the food for Bel. Then Daniel ordered his servants to bring ashes, and they scattered them through the whole temple in the presence of the king alone. Okay, only the king knew about the ashes.
Right, yeah.
Then they went out, shut the door, and sealed it with the king's signet, and departed. During the night, the priests came as usual with their wives and children, and they ate and drank everything.
Yeah.
Early in the morning, the king rose and came, and Daniel with him. The king said, "Are the seals unbroken, Daniel?" He answered, "They are unbroken, O king."
Yeah.
As soon as the doors were opened, the king looked at the table and shouted in a loud voice, "Ah, you are great, O Bel, and in you there is no deceit at all." I love God. But Daniel laughed and restrained the king from going in. "Look at the floor, stupid," he said. He didn't call him stupid.
Yeah.
I called him stupid.
Sure.
"And notice whose footprints these are." The king said, "I see the footprints of men and women and children."
Okay, yeah.
You didn't look and see the fucking ashes on the floor until I told you to, though, huh?
Right.
You're so smart.
Even though we did this for a reason.
Yeah.
In your presence.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Boy, you king, no flies on you.
Right?
Huh?
Yeah.
Then the king was enraged, and he arrested the priests and their wives and children. They showed him the secret doors through which they used to enter to consume what was on the table. Therefore, the king put them to death and gave Bel over to Daniel, who destroyed it and the temple. Now, in that place, there was a great dragon, which the Babylonians revered. I know, right?
What?
Like, sure there was.
Just there in the temple.
Oh, by the way, we had this statue. We thought it was a god. Just kidding, it's not. Oh, and by the way, there's a dragon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The king said to Daniel, "You cannot deny that this is a living God, so worship him."
Okay.
So first he showed him a statue, and Daniel was like, "No, I have a living God."
Right.
And so then the king is like, "Well, wait,
we have an actual dragon.
This is a living God,
right?
So he's living.
Like, it's a fucking dragon."
Yeah. Daniel said, "I worship the Lord my God, for he is the living God, but give me permission, O king, and I will kill the dragon without sword or club."
Okay.
The king said, "I give you permission."
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, kill the dragon, whatever.
Right.
Okay. Then Daniel took pitch, fat, and hair and boiled them together and made cakes, which he fed to the dragon.
Okay.
The dragon ate them and burst open. Then Daniel said, "See what you have been worshiping?" When the Babylonians heard of
he fed the thing something it couldn't eat, and it blew up like a bird would.
Yeah.
It okay.
So it's not a god, it's just an animal.
Right, it's an animal. You killed a fucking
creature.
Mythical, well, what we would consider mythical creature. So yay, I guess.
Right. Well, I'm going to guess it was probably like a crocagator. You know?
I'm going to guess it didn't exist at all.
Yeah, okay.
Daniel is fucking mythical himself.
Yeah,
so.
that is true. But be that as it may, they have discussed like quote unquote sea creatures and monsters and stuff that turned out to be fucking alligators and crocodiles.
Right,
so that's what I'm going with. If anything similar to this story ever happened, that's what it was.
Sure.
When the Babylonians heard about it, they were very indignant and conspired against the king, saying, "The king has become a Jew. He has destroyed Bel and killed the dragon and slaughtered the priests." Going to the king, they said, "Hand Daniel over to us, or else we will kill you and your household."
That's pretty bold.
I'd be like, "I'm sorry, douchebag said what?" Because I'm looking around and I'm the king.
Right.
So eat my whole entire ass, yo.
Right.
Right? The king saw that they were pressing him hard, and under compulsion, he handed Daniel over to them because that's very kingly, right?
Yeah, right.
No, that's not
how that would go.
That's not how a king does.
Right.
He would be like, "I did put the priest to death, but I seem to still have my guards.
Yeah.
Fuck these dudes right here."
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They threw Daniel into the lion's den.
Again?
Remember? Yeah.
Okay.
And he was there for 6 days this time.
6 days.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, he knew the good hiding spot already.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
There were 7 lions in the den, and every day they had been given 2 human bodies and 2 sheep. But now they were given nothing so that they would devour Daniel.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, the prophet Habakkuk, which that's a name that is a book of the Bible that we will be reading at some point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this Habakkuk guy.
He's an actual like prophet of the Lord type person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember if he's one of the minor prophets that we're about to be reading or if he's one of the apocryphal guys that we will be reading after.
But he's in there somewhere.
He's in there somewhere. He is a guy.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, and he's a prophet.
Yeah.
He was in Judea. He had made a stew and had broken bread into a bowl and was going into the field to take it to the reapers. But the angel of the Lord, you know the angel. He just be walking around.
Sure.
When he's not being held up by fucking demons or whatever.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. He said to Habakkuk, "Take the food that you have to Babylon, to Daniel in the lion's den." Habakkuk said, "Sir, I have never seen Babylon and I know nothing about the den."
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown of his head, which he fucking pulled his hair and was like, "Come here, stupid."
Right.
And carried him by his hair with the speed of the wind and set him down in Babylon right over the den. "Here, now do you see it?"
That's a very uncomfortable way to travel.
Like, kid you not?
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't trying to be rude. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Sorry, GPS didn't be invented yet.
Did you have to carry me by my fucking hair?
Right? Like, here's my hand.
Right?
Or magic me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, Horcrux much? Then Habakkuk shouted, Daniel, take the food that God has sent you.
Wait, how does he even know Daniel's there? I guess God told him? Or the angel of the Lord or whatever told him?
Yeah, he said, take the food that you have to Babylon, to Daniel, to the lion's den.
All right.
And Habakkuk's like, sir, what the fuck you talking about? I don't know
What's
nothing
a Daniel?
about it.
What's a lion's den?
What's a Babylon?
Right.
Yeah. So the angel picked him up by his hair and carried him over there and was like, here, stupid.
Okay.
And so then he's like, what, Daniel? Here's some shit.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Daniel said, you have remembered me, O God, and have not forsaken those who love you. Whee! So Daniel got up and ate. And the angel of God immediately returned Habakkuk to his own place. I wonder if he pulled him by his hair again.
Yeah.
On the seventh day, the king came to mourn for Daniel. When he came to the den, he looked in, and there sat Daniel. What up?
Okay.
The king shouted with a loud voice, you are great, O Lord, the God of Daniel, and there is no other beside you. Huh.
As he said, that was Nebuchadnezzar that said that.
Yeah, this is Cyrus.
This is Cyrus, okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Then he pulled Daniel out and threw into the den those who had attempted his destruction.
Why didn't he just do that in the first place? If he was already like impressed with Daniel's God, why, instead of like bowing to what they wanted, why didn't he just do that if he had the power to do that?
He's clearly a weak piece of shit.
Apparently.
Anyway, he threw into the den those who had attempted his destruction, and they were instantly eaten before his eyes. The end. Okay.
Yeah.
So, this version has been cited as an ancestor of the locked room mystery, which I said.
Yeah.
Sometime after the temple's condemnation, the Babylonians worshipped the dragon. Okay. The king says that unlike Bel, the dragon is a clear example of a live animal. Daniel promises to slay the dragon without the aid of a sword and does so by baking pitch, fat, and hair to make cakes that cause the dragon to burst open upon consumption. The reason I'm repeating that is because in other variants, other ingredients serve this purpose. So there's more than one
different
formula
recipes
to this story. Yeah.
All right.
In a form known to the Midrash, straw was fed in which nails were hidden.
Oh.
Or skins of camel were filled with hot coals.
I see. Okay.
And a similar story occurs in Persian poetry where Alexander the Great, or Iskander, as he's known, kills a dragon by feeding it cow's hide stuffed with poison and tar.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Interesting, yeah?
Yeah.
So the end.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what to say about that. It's like, why do we have 2 lion den stories about Daniel? That's really overkill.
They clearly picked one and were like, no, this is overkill. You get 1 lion's den story.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. There's definitely too many lion's dens.
Yeah.
And
there's too many, but we'll allow 1.
Right. And but again, I mean, this story, much like the other stories in Daniel, is again trying to get these leaders that had conquered them to admit the wonderfulness and viability of their God, right?
Yeah.
Like they're
not just is our God great, but yours is fake and dumb.
Right.
It's 2 separate things they're trying for here.
Yeah. And we talked about this all the way through Daniel about how they try too hard to do this.
Yeah.
Like they are just not. It's not a realistic take on how this would go.
No, because they're like, look at how we convinced the people who kidnapped us how awesome our God is. They totally fell in love with our God.
Right.
After they kidnapped us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That totally happened.
Right.
Like, no, dudes, it didn't.
Well, and the fact that these are written hundreds of years after these events supposedly took place doesn't lend to the credibility.
No.
You know, it
not
just,
at all.
It lends to the
stupidity.
Well, yeah, the propaganda aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is what it is, but
it ain't great, is what it is.
That's true for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Bel and the Dragon.
It sure as fuck was.
Which brings us to the end of Daniel.
And all its apocryphal nonsense.
Yeah. So after today, we're going to be getting into our
Daniel wrap up,
and then we'll have
You're Always Wrong.
Right, yes, or the Contradictions episode. And then that will finish us up with Daniel.
Yeah.
And we'll be done.
And that will be another book in the bank.
That's right. And we'll be on to the next one. Do you know what the next book is?
Oh,
off the top of your head?
I want to say Maccabees, I could be wrong.
Maccabees isn't even in the regular Bible.
Oh,
Are we
it's
doing
not?
another apocryphal thing, or what are we doing?
You know what? I did not even have that pulled up. So.
Well, we're doing another book after this, regardless, which will be the 28th book that we do. So,
look at you knowing how many books we did.
Well, I have to write it every day when we publish our podcast.
That is true.
Yeah.
You do that.
So I know.
That is true.
But regardless, we will be doing a new book of the Bible. And
Hosea.
Okay. All right.
Hosea. Hooray, hooray. I was thinking Moana.
Got it. Yeah. I don't know. We'll probably start the new book on Monday. So whatever time frame, we're kind of recording some of this stuff a little bit earlier than normal.
Yeah.
Whatever time frame we have left, we may be doing like a Patreon or book club or maybe both. I'm not really sure at this point.
That's weekend, and that's so far away from today.
It is so far away from today right now.
Yeah.
But we will do something probably.
Oh, yeah. We'll do something definitely. We just don't know what that is.
Right. And then we'll be back on Monday with the beginning of Hosea.
Yeah.
So
not Maccabees.
Not Maccabees, no. So we will see you guys then.
Bye.